So we acknowledge that the land on which we are learning, working, and gathering today is the ancestral home of the Yakomico and Piscataway peoples. We also acknowledge that St. Mary's City was partly built by enslaved peoples of African descent. Through this acknowledgement, we recognize these communities and all those who have been displaced and enslaved through colonization. Given the unique importance of the land on which we sit, and given the unique educational mission of St. Mary's College of Maryland as the National Public Honors College, we pledge to continue to unearth and understand the historic realities so that they inform all of our work. We also pledge to work tirelessly in making our institution more accessible, inclusive, and equitable, especially for those populations most affected by societal inequities. We do this with the understanding that by supporting and learning from our diverse communities, we build a more sustainable future for all. I thank you for your attention during that reading. You know we're going to do it every time we gather. And it is extra special because, you know, a lot of schools, they now do land acknowledgements. They just do it because it's the right thing to do. But at St. Mary's College, we just don't read just to be reading. We don't have time for that. We have work to do. And when we read something like that, it is important for us to really think about what it means. And so what is really special about these two paragraphs is not only do we acknowledge the land and the people, we also pledge to do right by them. And I want you all to remember that. And when you see someone that's misbehaving, just tug on them a little bit and say, as I always say, we are St. Mary's College. We are the best. We will continue to be the best and do right by people. So I know you think that those are my remarks for the state of the college, but I think I was supposed to be in theater because that was improvisation there. So to begin the state of the college, we have a short video I want you all to pay attention to, and then afterwards I will begin my remarks.
On behalf of the faculty, we want to congratulate all the student award recipients and wish them the best of luck in all future endeavors. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
On behalf of the Staff Senate, we'd like to congratulate all of the awardees at this year's awards convocation.
Congratulations.
Welcome to the first State of the College of the 2021-22 academic year. It is just beautiful to see so many of you here in the real. Masked, yes, but we are here together. At this point, we cannot ask for any more. This has been one heck of a year, and yet not only do we stand, but to borrow from the spirit of Maya Angelou's famous poem, we rise, we rise, we rise. This afternoon, I will begin by speaking to who we are. I will then present highlights demonstrating the momentum we have built over the last year or so, living up to our identity. And then I will conclude with your role in helping us not just maintain, but to build on this momentum. We are the National Public Honors College. We're constantly asked, what does it mean to be an honors college? Over the course of my 7 years here, I have heard a myriad of definitions of what it means to be an honors college. I'm going to tell you what I've told the trustees. This is what I tell parents who ask. This is what I tell new legislators who may not be familiar with the concept. This is my promise to you, our students, and I want you to hold us accountable to this definition. And honors means every course in every discipline is designed to push the students' critical thinking, creativity, and engagement with their peers and the faculty beyond rote memorization and regurgitation. Thus, classes are 4 credit hours rather than the traditional 3 to foster not just learning, but creativity, innovation, and engaged citizenship in a small, diverse, and respectful community of scholars. That's who we are. We're not just honors. We are public honors. What does that mean? Those of you who have been here in the real have heard me say that we are public servants. There's a great deal of responsibility associated with that. Additionally, as an institution built to serve the public, we are morally responsible to make that which we know is good for some accessible to all. Well, what's an example of that kind of thinking? The LEAD curriculum. which in my view is the most perfect concept for a public honors college. LEAD is about helping St. Mary's College students think beyond the boundaries, experience real-world settings where they can apply their learning and be able to articulate their thoughts, ideas, and experiences with confidence and conviction. LEAD represents the integration of knowledge and application. Within LEAD, there's professional skills development on steroids, as this development is integrated within both the core and every program that we offer at the college. This integration helps students not only for the careers they will have over the course of their lives, something a liberal arts education is known for, but also for that very first job that each and every one of you better get, because your parents want you to, and so do I. It's good for you. And I'm very pleased that Molly Mahoney Matthews, a former trustee and foundation board member, an innovator and an entrepreneur, has joined the college as the interim executive director of the newly dubbed Center for Career and Professional Skills Development, to help us ensure that we are developing professional skills at the highest level and taking full advantage of not only the expertise we have at the college, but importantly, taking advantage of the expertise of those that live within the broader community. Why do we need to expand beyond the campus community? Well, because we are a public honors college, and that honors is beyond a student's high academic achievement. It is about rigor, integrity, and pride in everything we do as an institution. And with that comes an understanding that we don't always have all of the expertise internally that we need to provide our students with the best experience they can have. And we're okay with saying, it's not here. Please give us a hand from the community. How many of you don't agree with that? It was an odd way of asking that question, wasn't it? I was trying to see if you guys were paying attention. It is so incredibly silent in here. I might ask them to turn the fans back on so I can hear something. Do you guys agree that that is what we should be doing to help our students here? Thank you so very much. So we have another exciting aspect about LEAD. And that is we have incorporated what we call the Honors College Promise in it. The promise is that we guarantee every student who goes through the professional skills development courses an internship, a faculty-directed research experience, or an international experience. Every student. Who does that in the public sector? Only at St. Mary's College. That is something to be proud of, because that is incredibly difficult. But we're going to make it happen. This promise requires intense networking to identify individuals and organizations willing to provide rigorous experiences for our students. The promise is also cost the college money, because we need enough staff and instructors in the core professional series to ensure that students are making the necessary connections and having the appropriate experiences. And we need funds to pay students stipends, just in case they get a great internship, but the organization doesn't have any money to pay the student. And we cannot require students to participate in these kinds of things if we're not going to support them, because we understand that many of you have to work during the summers, and that's when most of those internships happen. So if we're asking you to do something, we have to provide a means by which it gets done, and that's why we have to have funds to support you with stipends. So we have been working to raise money for these initiatives, and I'm going to talk more about that later. And the fundraising efforts have been helped by our distinction as a National Public Honors College and a LEAD initiative, because they really are leading and cutting edge concepts. As a result of these and other efforts, St. Mary's College's reputation is growing not only in higher education, but in the competitive marketplace as well. Things were going well by many indicators. But along came COVID, and all of us had to quickly pivot to continue to deliver an exceptional education to our students and stay true to the St. Mary's way while maintaining our place in the market. Well, there is at least one thing that has been demonstrated throughout the history of this college, and that is we are nothing if not resilient. Like Maya Angelou stated, and I quote, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it," end quote. We did not falter. Instead, we emerged with great momentum. When I gave my inaugural address on that warm October day in 2014, I started with a quote from the prologue to Invisible Man. It read, "Once I saw a prize fighter boxing a yokel. The fighter was swift and amazingly scientific. His body was one violent flow of rapid rhythmic action. He hit the yokel 100 times, while the yokel held up his arms in stunned surprise. But suddenly, the yokel, rolling about in the gale of boxing gloves, struck one blow and knocked science, speed, and footwork as cold as a well digger's posterior. The smart money hit the canvas. The long shot got the nod. The yokel had simply stepped inside of his opponent's sense of time," end quote. I come back to this passage time and time again, especially the final piece, stepped inside of his opponent's sense of time. That's powerful stuff. In the arena of public higher education, this small, independent liberal arts college on this peninsula, whose enrollment has been declining for years, is the underdog. Yet, we always manage to not only find our way, but we come out of whatever it is stronger, faster, smarter, leaner, and meaner than we were before. We may be small, but we are focused, strategic, and resilient. During the early days of the pandemic, there was grinding and gnashing of teeth, chaos and consternation everywhere. St. Mary's College of Maryland kept our focus on getting our work done. And when the naysayers started saying that tiny schools like us weren't going to make it, we kept the community intact during a period of immense financial uncertainty caused by the need to pivot to remote instruction. We were bleeding funds, but we managed to keep everyone on the payroll. That is something to be proud of. And how did we do that? Primarily by applying for and receiving a PPP loan that was forgiven, and because of responsible fiscal management, it was forgiven. Do you know we're the only public higher education institution in the state that had the gumption to apply for a PPP loan. I think you guys should applaud. And I want to thank Paul Pusiker and his team for making sure that when the president said we should apply for a PPP loan, he didn't say, "You're out of your mind, Twanda." He did look at me sideways because he was busy, but he did it. And his team made sure we spent it on the people here at the college because that's what we promised we were going to do, and that's what we did. Thank you, Paul. The pandemic shut everybody down during the yield season. During this period of great uncertainty, when the smart money was betting that fall 2020 would see significant enrollment and declines, we increased new student enrollment by 19%. That is momentum. So speaking of enrollment, I want to again welcome 470 new students to St. Mary's College. The 470 new faces include 83 transfer students. So I am thrilled that you realize this is where you should have been all along. We also have 387 first-time, first-year students. It is amazing that we were able to garner the highest number of applications in the college's history, as well as the largest first-year class in 5 years in the midst of a pandemic. Attracting, recruiting, and enrolling new students takes an entire village, as you know. So thank you, staff, faculty, student ambassadors, David Houghton, for your leadership and all that you have done to help make this year a success with respect to our enrollment. Thank you. As part of the work to yield our admitted students, the Office of Admission, and I know we've been saying for 175 years, admissions, but it is admission. Everybody say that after me. Admission, no S at the end. The Office of Admission worked with Way Better Marketing on an outreach campaign. Of all of Way Better's partners, the St. Mary's College of Maryland team was the most effective at converting students who were not sure which college they were going to attend. So St. Mary's College won the category as part of the Way Better Olympics. We are ahead of the curve. We have many of our peers, our in-state competitors and aspirant peers that did not fare nearly as well as we did. Congratulations, admission team. So the Office of Admission was open, hosting visitors one family at a time, August through November of 2020, and again beginning March through May. In June, additional site visit times were made available, and the summer has been 50% busier than it was in 2019. This suggests that we are indeed on a positive path to stabilizing and growing our enrollment after many years of decline. You all have played a great role in that, and I thank you for helping us to do that. So I want to speak about a few of our students. So it's called Student Momentum. I know that there are many more, and I invite all students who are doing some really great things to communicate them to your dean and his staff so that he can pass that news along. We have a hard time getting to know what you guys are really doing. And so if you're doing something and if you're proud of it, but if you don't know it's really a great thing, the fact that you're proud of it says something. Let us know, because it is important to me that I have stories to tell about our really great students. And I want you guys to find your voices and to speak up and let us know. Some of you have said you're always focusing on the athletes. Well, you know, they're out and about and they're doing stuff. And they're proud of what they're doing. We're proud of what they're doing. We know about it. We're going to celebrate it. I need you to tell us what you're doing so we can celebrate you too. So there are two students I'm going to start with, and if I mess up your names, I'm so sorry. I didn't get the right pronunciation today. And they are here. Umul Ba and Joseph Ponticos. So Umul and Joseph did research with Patricia Santos Seminara, visiting assistant professor of biology, and presented at the Helminthological Society of Washington. How cool is that? So if that, and listen to what they talked about. This is going to grab your attention, maybe. It's entitled Parasite Abundance and Diversity in River Otters Within Tributaries of the Chesapeake Bay. Who knew? I think that's a great thing. Thank you, guys. We have this sailor who is just a superkind. Leo does everything, and his latest feat is that he has been named to the USA team to participate in the Junior Pan American Games that will happen in Colombia around Thanksgiving time. If you want to go down there, just tell Leo that you're willing to help him with his sailing gear, and you can have a really cool trip over Thanksgiving break. How about that? Congratulations, Leo. So speaking of water, the SGA donated money to rebuild the floating dock at the waterfront. And you know that's a central feature of campus life. I must say that the SGA has been exemplary in supporting students during the pandemic. The college established a recovery fund to assist students with expenses. And this was done within weeks of our getting shut down for the pandemic. And I want you to know that the SGA stepped up quickly and they stepped up big. They made 2 donations totaling $75,000 to the recovery fund to help our students. And to enhance our efforts to keep our community safe, the college purchased enough flu vaccines to vaccinate every member of the St. Mary's College community, and the SGA donated $10,000 to that endeavor. And they provided $5,000 for something I didn't even know about. That's why I so appreciate the students. You educate me as well. There are issues of menstrual equity. and the SGA donated money to support that effort. Well done. So all of these activities demonstrate a commitment to the St. Mary's Way at a level never before seen during my tenure as president, and align extremely well with the college's efforts to be more inclusive and to put equity at the center of everything that we do. I really look forward to working with the SGA this year and all student organizations in helping to make our college a place where all who enter have the opportunity to thrive. That's very good. So many of you are aware that issues of inclusive diversity and equity have been a focus of mine throughout my tenure. And I often speak to the necessity of ensuring that voices of the oppressed are heard. Sometimes we must be creative in finding or highlighting the voices of those who have been lost. Why is this important? Well, today, most of us understand that diversity of thought and perception brings enhanced creativity and innovation. From a historical perspective, providing voice to the silenced adds to the richness and complexity of the history, as well as helps us understand aspects of our present and help us shape a better future. The commemorative to the enslaved peoples of Southern Maryland was and is a major endeavor in this work to connect the past, present, and future. The dedication garnered the national and international acclaim, broadened the impact of the work of our faculty, students, and staff, and equally important, has the potential to enhance the college's partnership with historic St. Mary's City, the home of the museum. But I want you to know that I think that that project is important for all of those things, but also because of the beauty of the structure. It is arresting. What does that mean? What does that mean? We are an honest college. Surely somebody knows what that means. Yes? It stops you in your tracks. And that's what it's supposed to do. And then it's supposed to draw you in, and you're supposed to go and read it. And I see people walking past it, and they're looking at it like, what the heck? And they keep walking. But I promise you, you won't be able to walk by it forever and ever, because the words there are powerful. And they require you to not just read them, but think about them. And you know, when you approach the structure, there are a bunch of names, and you're like, I don't know who these people are. So go to the other side. There's a whole lot of other stuff there. But if you really read the names, you will find names of people who are currently on this campus. Their ancestors' names are on that structure. People within the community, their names are on that structure. It is very important to understand where we are and how we got here. Provides a sense of place and purpose. Please take advantage of that structure. It is like none other anywhere, and it is here on your campus. So let me get back to the museum. How many of you go over to the museum? How many of you go there in the daytime? That's good, okay? So how many of you know that they had a major discovery there? That's also good. So staff of the museum, who've been working with people all over the country, including members of our community with our student interns, they discovered the site of the St. Mary's Fort that was constructed in 1634. St. Mary's Fort is Maryland's original English settlement and the fourth oldest English colony in North America. So this discovery is a really big deal. And I want to publicly congratulate Travis Parno and his team for the discovery. But why is it such a big deal? Well, I don't know all the reasons, but one reason is that this site provides the opportunity to tell a richer, more complex, and diverse history of the founding of this nation and the birth of democracy from the perspectives of not just the colonizers. This is important. Not just the colonizers, but the indigenous peoples and the enslaved peoples as well. It is a great opportunity for the museum, the college, the state, and the nation to tell the history of this country from diverse perspectives. We need to be partners in that. We have expertise, we have hands here that can help Historic St. Mary's, the museum, in this endeavor, and we need to find ways by which to strengthen those partnerships. And telling the story of the history of this country from diverse perspectives is important, and the time is right in light of not only the nation's reawakening to social injustices, but also due to the recent US Census data indicating that the country's demographics has shifted. What better way to empower the voices of those who have been traditionally marginalized and downtrodden than to help them understand the important and essential role of their ancestors played in building this nation? And as we think about enhancing our partnership with Historic, we have one of the most respected anthropologists in the nation on our faculty, and that is Julie King, whose work with the indigenous peoples of colonial America is nationally renowned. Julie's work to discover the artifacts that led to our commemorative is well documented. She did not, has not, will not rest on her laurels. Julie was awarded a fellowship at the Dumbarton Oaks Research Laboratory and Collection in Washington, D.C., to research indigenous communities in the Rappahannock River Valley. And she was recently granted an award from the National Park Service to work in Piscataway Park in Prince George's County. Well done, Julie. Our faculty across the college continues to do amazing things to remain scholars in their areas of expertise. Just a few of them are shown here, and I want to congratulate them on their recognitions as well. When faculty members are engaged in their scholarly work, it helps them to be the best motivators and teachers possible to prepare students for a bright and productive future. An example of this is Dave Kung. Dave is professor of math, and he was the recipient of an award from the Mathematical Association of America, honoring professors whose teaching effectiveness has been influential beyond the borders of their own institution. Congratulations, Dave. We also pride ourselves on our committed and caring staff, some of the examples of whom are shown here. As a highlight, I want to touch on the fact that Joanne Goldwater and Brad Newkirk were honored by the Association for College and University Housing Officers International for their leadership in ensuring the health and safety of campus community members during this pandemic. So it's evident in the engagement of our alumni who are so excited about all the good things that have happened at the college over the course of the last few years or so. Take, for instance, Giving Tuesday, the National Day of Philanthropy. Many institutions focus their efforts on how much money they can raise within that 24-hour period. Not St. Mary's College. What do we focus on? Friend raising. Do you get it? Friend raising. That is very important to us. And this year, we broke our previous record for the number of donors who contribute to the college during that magical 24 hours. And it doesn't hurt that this year we also broke the record for the amount of money we raised. Congratulations, Carolyn, and your entire team for that. During this last year, we worked hard to make the best of a difficult and challenging situation. What was the result? A safe environment to learn, live, and work, happy students, and supportive communities. Thus, we were able to produce a wide variety of approximately 200 virtual lectures and performances, including a virtual commencement and 3 grad walks that were all well received by students and their family and have given us food for thought about how we should do this in the future. We had live outdoor performances, with one of them being something near and dear to my heart. It's the Mulberry Music Festival. The first year it featured gospel. This year it featured blues. Next year it's supposed to be jazz. I know that, Tawanda. It was very cool. And then, of course, we cannot forget the perennial and always local favorite, the River Concert Series under the direction of the maestro Jeff Silberschlag. So we were able to produce these large community events in the midst of a pandemic without creating any COVID hotspots, because we're cool like that. Don't I sound old? It's okay, because I am. Well, we got to continue to be cool like that and do our due diligence this year to not be a hotspot and to take care of each other. So what is all this good news telling you? It is telling you that St. Mary's College of Maryland is serious about everything that we do and stand for. We are on the rise. Look at some of our external validations. Moody's investment. I know you guys thinking, oh my Lord, she's not going to tell us about this. But this is really important. They raised St. Mary's College of Maryland's credit rating this year from A2 negative to A2 stable, when the rest of higher ed has a negative outlook. That is huge for us. And in so doing, they cited management credibility as the key driver, especially in this pandemic, the strong state support that we have, our stable enrollment, excellent operating environment, because we are the National Public Honors College. Here's another one, earned media. Do you know what that's about? That means the world is looking at you and they want to feature you in their publications and you don't have to pay for it. This was our best year ever. It is something to be proud of. Look at this. We had, for years, the complaint has been we're not doing enough in marketing. We're not telling the story of the college, right? Yada, 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 right? You know that we have garnered 15 top-tier awards for marketing, fundraising, and alumni engagement. We, with a bare bones staff, please congratulate Integrated Marketing and Carolyn Curry. And they went and raised $2.9 million, specifically targeting our LEAD initiative. That is the most money we have raised ever for something like that. Thank you. And there's no college president in the world who doesn't pay attention to rankings. And we can all say privately we don't believe in them and we don't care. That's a bunch of crap. Parents read them, students read them, their grandparents read them, their cousins read them, their friends read them. We got to pay attention. Look at all of these that we're getting. And these are serious ones. These are talking about our academic programs. These are talking about that our students graduate with the lowest debt in the public sector in the state of Maryland. We have one of the lowest student default rates in the country because we try to take care of you guys. We're even one of the best green campuses in the country. That bodes well for our sustainability efforts. That means you guys are helping us to get these awards. So I want to thank you for that. And let me tell you, the momentum is continuing to grow. In 2018, Chair of the Board then, Lex Burney, and I stood before the campus community and invited you to submit proposals for new curricular and co-curricular programming that is relevant, attractive, and sustainable. In exchange, we promised that resources would be available to support these initiatives at the level befitting an honors college. You delivered, and we kept our promise. Trustees Burney and Woban-Smith and the entire Board of Trustees, our foundation board, Vice Presidents Curry and Pusaker, have all partnered with me to bring resources to this college, not only to provide the resources for new programs, but will also be used to support the LEAD initiative going forward, as well as invest in junior faculty who are exemplars of the teacher-scholar model to help us continue towards our vision of becoming the college of choice, bar none. We are an amazing place on the banks of this small but important river. We're making investments in young faculty who are helping us shape the future of our students and propel this institution forward. Just this spring, we awarded 17 new two-year professorships with salary enhancements and stipends to support those young faculty members' research and creative endeavors. Who does this for junior faculty? Only St. Mary's College of Maryland. We have awesome facilities coming online and renovations about to occur that will not only support our work, but serve as a shining light to the world, announcing that we are here, we are excellent, we are leaders in equitable higher education. We are the National Public Honors College on our way to becoming the college of choice. How will you contribute to our becoming the college of choice? I'm asking you to embrace our brand identity. Share that brand success with confidence because we have the data to back it up, and embody the brand. We will be seeking your accomplishments, your stories, your contributions, and ideas for promoting our distinction and unique place in higher education. We ask each of you to help keep our momentum strong and stand boldly with pride for our collective successes. We are St. Mary's College of Maryland, the National Public Honors College. I'm going to keep saying that and saying that. You should be saying it to yourselves in your sleep. You should wake up in the morning with that Tawanda cadence, saying, we are St. Mary's College of Maryland, the National Public Honors College, and you should feel it in your soul. When our students graduate, they become alumni. They bleed blue and gold. But now they're going to have these little clumps that come out of there. And the doctor's going to be looking at that blue blood, and it's going to be like, oh my goodness, it says the National Public Honors College. Come on out. So we have great momentum, and to borrow from the wisdom of Professor Emerita Iris Ford, who was talking about something else, but we're just going to modify it. And it says St. Mary's College of Maryland, an eternal light of joy and inspiration. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I thank you for your attention today.